So a viewer has asked me to try to do an in-depth video on positioning in a tank like the Leopard 1, which is very position dependent, and I have two games here today that are like that. I'm going to link in the description a WZ132 video that I made, which is also a very positional, I think it's one game, or there might be two games in that video, but it's a positional set of games that might help with the same idea. So I hope this video helps that commenter and anybody else who could learn from this. So first up, I'm just going to slow it down here and explain. I'm going med side. I can't hold a push on the med side because they have three mediums, but I want to be able to get initial shots into their mediums and then be able to run away to farm or reposition or get crossfire somewhere else. So that's why I'm here, for initial spotting and damage. So here I spot the Caro, and I'm going to hold my shot until I can guarantee the pen, because he's not going to spot me through the bush at this range until he gets a little bit closer. He's essentially going to throw his tank away doing this, and since I peek him so late here, I don't expect his teammates to actually be there because I didn't spot them, but they pop over the hill, and this is one of the situations that you just can't plan for, but you have to be able to react well when you're driving something like a Leopard, because you will die so fast. Now, if I leave this position, they push our Caro and kill him. So as long as I'm here, the more damage we can get out of these guys. And even if I were to die here in a push, we would be able to do enough to these other enemy teammates that we could still have a good shot at winning the game. And here, the most annoying part about this engagement is actually my friend, the Caro, keeps running into me and messing up my shots. He just messed up two of my shots there, and it's just not helpful to have a teammate like this that does not know how to drive properly. He essentially then decides to throw away the rest of his remaining hit points to miss all of his shots, and at this point I can see that we're both low enough to where they're just going to push us, so I need to leave, because if I stay there I'm also going to die, and I don't want to die with him for no reason. The closest position that I can get to without risking dying from trying to drive in front of them is right here, and it's not the most ideal position, but I am still supporting whatever's left of that Caro, and behind me we have a tank destroyer in spawn that's supporting me for when he goes down. So I'm set up for both of those situations right here, so it may not look like the best spot, but it's pretty good for the time being. Another thing you need to keep in mind is you're not out of the game until you're dead. I'm a one-shot here, but I'm still just as dangerous as a gun as I was when I was full HP. So I want to keep shooting and stay alive, because the longer I can do damage, again, the more likely we're going to win. I took a risk crossing to this position, and I get lucky with this bounce, but the reason that I went here is because it requires that Centurion to drive in a pathing that exposes him to our tank destroyers, both of them actually, and that's much better than him just being able to drive straight to me and probably not dying for it. I also waited for him to fire before I crossed, and the Centurion has around a 9-second reload, so I think he was also still reloading when I was exposed to him. Although it was still a very risky play, it was something that needed to be done. These small micro-rotational plays are things that are really important when you're playing the Leopard, because you don't have the positional advantaging mechanics per se as the WZ1321 and the 121B that tell you when you're spotted and who is spotting you, so you really have to know the map well and be able to predict what's going to happen. On top of that, with the Leopard, if you get pushed by anything, you're just going to die. There's no cutting that any other way. You have no armor. As soon as they start shooting at you, you lose all of your HP, so if you're in the wrong spot, you're not living very long. This was not an outstanding game by any means, but it shows very well how to react to a random, unexpected situation purely with positioning when you have no other advantages. This map is much better gameplay-wise than pretty much any class of tank, just because there's so many areas you can go to and things you can do differently. On the last map, Dead Rail, there's not so much. There's really only 2 lanes and then the spawns for tank destroyers. I'm going to go to the standard initial light tank spotting location, which you'll see in a second if you don't already know. It gets you good shots on the heavy tanks crossing, but it does expose you to potential medium tanks, which does happen to me, but if you're ready for it, it shouldn't hurt you. Now here you get free shots on heavies, potentially, but I don't like to get too cocky and shoot at the first thing that I see, because if a medium tank pops up on the hill to the right, as is happening right now, that takes immediate priority. And I do get lucky here, dodging his shot. I think he turned at the wrong moment. Here I bait the shot from the VK, but it is just not beneficial for me to continue poking this location. If I were in a tank like an STB-1, totally viable to try to peek one of those, but in a Leopard 1, you're just going to take damage and do nothing. I'm going to pause this here and just say take a look at the minimap and notice that this guy is completely unsupported and overextended. And if you find yourself in a position like this, you're taking a huge risk for what's about to happen to him. As you can see, he can't back up in time to get away from us, and his only choice is to take this fight. There's two of us, one of him, and we have support. He does not, so very easy fight here. Purely a positioning error and just being too aggressive at the start of the game. Right now I'm just farming the free damage while it's here, but you'll notice the 906 pops up and I immediately change targets to him. The reason I do this is because he can leave anytime he wants because he's faster. Obviously we're not going to let him do that, but if we choose to shoot the 60 TP instead because we're already shooting at him, the 906 will run away and eventually survive and pop up somewhere else. So we're going to want to shoot the thing that can leave easiest. Now if you'll notice again on the minimap, in the time that it's taken us to kill these two tanks, we've entirely lost the heavy tank flank because that's where their medium and light tank have gone. Now there's another overextended tank, and the Leopard 1 is perfect for taking advantage of overextended vehicles because it has almost 4,000 DPM. So I'm going to take his track off and just keep him tracked so I get the assist damage, but also try to go for his ammo rack because it's also damaged. But here, we just want to kill this guy as quickly as possible so that we can regain map control. Because if you look at our team, we're all cramped up in the middle, and they can approach us from any angle and create crossfires from anywhere. So we don't want that. We want to find a better angle to support our team from. Batjack got a little cocky there, tried to take me out, but if you'll notice while I was farming that VK, I was putting myself in a position where I was open to the least amount of angles possible. I was up against that wall, so that if that Batchat did try to peek me, he didn't have an easy shot. That's something to keep in mind while you're farming. Now the reason I come up here is because the Yo is putting our whole team in a crossfire, and if I follow them to kill the medium and the heavy over there, I'll also be in that crossfire. So what I want to do is I want to wait for him to try to kill this E5 and shoot at the Yo, and then I'll be able to come up behind him after he clips out. I don't want him to see me because if he sees me, he's just going to chase me down and then I'll take the clip, and I need my HP because we're in a 3v3 scenario right now. Unfortunately, he drops down and I don't get the opportunity to do anything for him, but now that I'm up here behind him, I do get some easy shots. Now, even though it seemed like those two tanks over there were easy kills if I just followed my team, I would not want to be beneath that Yo if he decided to shoot me instead of somebody else. And considering we had a one-shot and some other low HP tanks, wouldn't have been a wise decision to throw away my HP at this stage in the game. Now I'm in a 1v2. It's a pretty easy 1v2, but they have a high damage clipper and a very good player in a medium tank with crazy DPM. So what I want to do right now is I want to create as much distance and kind of reset the battle so I could be coming from anywhere. This takes a little bit of time, and this is where you need to start looking at the clock. Luckily, I got a max roll on that Yo, so now they're both one-shots. So unless I mess up royally here, there's not really a way for me to lose. At the same time, I still don't want to just get over-aggressive and run in there, because if the Yo clips me and I don't kill one of them, or I don't kill the 140 first, I can still very easily lose this. If you'll notice there, I did something I do in a lot of my videos where I go unspotted driving one direction and then immediately change direction to go the other way. Now, they could predict you doing this, but you could also not be doing that, so it's best to just do it anyway. Now, I'm going to take a pathing that exposes me for the least amount of time and try to drive through these bushes so that if I do spot somebody as I pull up to it, I can stop and it's unlikely I'll be spotted. And it actually pays off for me here. I take the pathing to go around the corner of the rock, so I peek out in the bush. That guy doesn't even spot me before I fire. And I don't think he even spotted me when I fired. So little things like that are very important when you're playing a paper tank like the Leopard. And obviously this guy's just in the cap circle, but he can guarantee a kill. He didn't even know where I was because I didn't get spotted after killing the 140. This was a little bit more of an entertaining game that showed off the support capabilities of the Leopard, finding crossfires and overextended tanks, and just straight up using positioning to outplay the enemy. Thanks for watching. I hope you enjoyed. If you did, let me know. If you didn't, also let me know. And if you want me to go over a specific tank, playstyle, or class, type it down in the comments and I'll make a video for you. Thanks for watching.